Yo, what is going on? How's everybody doing today? Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry, my mic, right? What's going on, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to another DLA Fitness live stream show. Today, we got a good show going in for you. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show today than usual, but yeah, we still got one for you today. Today is Tuesday, of course. We are just beginning the week, and yeah, we got to get it going. And with that being said, if you're having a bad day, just remember this.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you did not become unalive, you are good to go. You're blessed to see another day upon this earth. Make it the best day you can. Don't complain. Just make it happen. It's hard. It's stressful. We all going through some things. It doesn't matter who you are. We all got problems. But at the end of the day, we got to deal with it some way, somehow. Yes, sir. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight to today's show. In case you didn't know, we are simultaneously streaming on all 4 platforms. It's going to be YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. And if you're on YouTube, do me a favor. If you're going to see a little thumbs up, hit the like button right there, as you can see, and get the algorithm going. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, if you want to contribute to today's show, bam, Cash App, Daniel2888. Venmo's going to be Danny-Daniel-00. Yes, and today we got our 3 topics we're going to go into, which is going to be fitness, the economy, and AI. There's been a lot going on in the world today, but with fitness, we're going to dive into a Mike, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Mike Israeli. He's speaking on a new drug that's different than steroids, is allegedly better than steroids, but of course, I'm pretty sure the side effects are going to be tremendous. It's a longer video, but we're going to shorten it down because I personally don't feel like watching the whole thing. I kind of feel like it's repetitive and redundant. Haven't really watched it yet. I've seen clips and pieces of it, but we'll just kind of skim through it to see if there's, what we can pick out of it and kind of go with and see what's going on there. Then we're going to slide over into the organ of the day, and I'll read over to you what that will be when the time comes. Then we'll be on our part 7 of central banking and the enslavement of mankind. It's going to be, that one's going to be a real short one, actually, shorter than usual, because normally they're like 30 minutes long, maybe even 45 minutes long, but this one's a lot shorter. So we'll be able to get through the economy portion of the show quickly, which is actually pretty good because, like I said, we're pressed for time today, but we still got to give you a show. And then last but not least, we got AI, and you're going to watch me do a Google VEO 3 tutorial live on the live stream. That's right. We're going to do one live on the live stream and see how that pans out because, Google VEO 3's been having some crazy stuff they've been putting out there as far as videos and stuff go and all that, not nonsense, but all that goodness, I have to say. But we're going to go ahead and dive right into it because we have to get this thing crack-a-lackin'. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the first portion of the show, which is going to be fitness. So let me go ahead and pull that up on the screen for you. Let's see what we got. There we go. Let's get this up on, well, you know what? Before we even start, let me refresh the screen before they run us an ad as soon as we hit play, because you know how YouTube be doing. YouTube is the ad central. So we're going to go ahead and get that fixed, got that out the way, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, Mike Israeli, whatever his name is, but we're going to, and sorry if I butcher your name, sir, no disrespect, but let's go ahead and dive right into this video. Like I said, the end of steroids and the new muscle drug is here, and I can only imagine what this could be and how this is going to have a very negative effect, but nobody cares about negative as long as it makes you money. Like I say, if you are not natty, your pockets are most likely fatty. That's my motto. Not hating on anybody that takes steroids. Hell, if you got some, let me know. I'll try some and see exactly how my body turned out. I could be kidding. But anyway, I'm going to pull this up on the screen and get started. So let's go ahead and get this up here as we see. And we got to change that banner right quick. That is not the correct. There we go. We got that fixed right there. And let's go ahead and get right in. I'm pretty sure you've seen this guy before. I actually think this guy was at Iron Force Gym in Austin, which is the gym, is one of the gyms I go to. So shout out to him for being out in Austin, Texas, and showing some love to the gym. So yeah, there's that. I didn't see him when he was there, but I did see some video clips of him on social media. He was there, so shout out to him. But let's go ahead and get this video started and take it away, sir.
Folks who are already really jacked, folks who aren't jacked at all, have just shit genetics, real talk. Like, it sucks to go to the gym and just claw for these minimal gains. This drug and drugs like it could end that forever. Now you get gains. Now you come to the gym and shit makes sense again. And every month your body looks better. Wow. You are going to be able to gain muscle at levels we barely see with the highest doses of steroids most people can't sustain for about a few weeks, with 10 times less side effects, if after a few generations, any side effects whatsoever. Modern pharma unleashed, you guys. Nobody playing. Nobody's playing anymore. Folks, the RP Strength summer sale is upon us. We've got tons of savings on all.
Buddy. No, we're not doing that here. All right, here we go.
What are androgenic side effects?
Here we go.
Drugs that increase your skeletal muscle mass, which we all deeply desire, but at the same time, is that steroids. What are androgenic side effects? They include all the typical things that steroids give you, because they do increase muscle mass, but they have all these androgenic side effects. Hair loss, acne, increased body hair, which I know nothing about, worse lipid profile, not good, potential strain on the liver in some cases, definitely increases in aggression and anxiety, prostate enlargement, testicular atrophy, so you have to restart your testes after you come off, and for females, deepening of the voice, clitoral enlargement, which is so hot. I will not make excuses about that, but most ladies find it confusing at best. Menstrual irregularities, and of course, facial hair growth, which females tend to find displeasing in most cases. So the question is, why do steroids cause these? And the answer is steroids are not a muscle growth drug. They are a drug that is just designed to masculinize animals, like all mammals and humans. And so when you increase the amount of androgens, the amount of androgenic anabolic steroids inside of a human, it does all the things that molecules do to make you more man-like, which means getting you more jacked for sure, but also means making you more aggressive, making you less verbally social, making you more anxious, making you have poor lipid profiles and all the other stuff. Of course, hair growth and all that stuff. These are side effects that are annoying. They're bad for your health. And it makes it so that steroids are not like, hey, take this drug and it'll just get you jacked. There's a laundry list of problems with them. And I've done plenty of them and they suck. It's a cool tool, but it's a really, really rough edge tool. If we could just have a drug that built a crap load of muscle but had no such androgenic side effects, it would be amazing. And
I don't think that exists. I mean, in a perfect world it would, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that you could take that will not have a side effect, because you're trying to produce a drug that fits. It's like a one glove fits all, and that just don't work. Even if you're on like a bodybuilder diet plan or whatever it is, and you try to eat healthy, eat a certain way, and people tell you do your protein, carbs, and fats on a macro diet, then you go into a cutting phase. In the cut, from your bulk to a cut, you're going to find out where your body stores most of your fat, and you're probably going to realize that carbs might hit you harder than most people, or protein might be the one that hits you worse than most people. Like, one of the food groups, the proteins, carbs, and fat, might do worse to you than what it normally does to other people. So everybody's body's different, and they're trying to do a one glove fits all, but you're dealing with man-made drugs. There's no other way to put it. Somebody in the lab is producing a man-made drug, and people are like, well, what if this could just do it for everyone and not have no side effects? Where's the money in that? There's no money to just have one drug with no side effects, because you make money off of the side effects. This drug produces the side effects. Now you need this drug to fix this side effects, and the side effects from this new. It's, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the hospital. You know, you make money on treatment. You don't make money on cure, because if you're cured, it don't come back. So that's the whole thing. But anyway.
Fact, this is now the reality, because the brilliant minds at the Regeneron Pharmaceuticals Corporation have just such a drug, and they have
exactly. He even said it. Pharmaceutical corporation, drug. You have a business selling drugs. When you say it like that, it should make a lot more sense. There's a business selling drugs. How they gonna make their money? By having the best drug out there that doesn't have no side effects? Like, bruh. Well, what happens when you OD on this drug with no side effects? Like, come on, son.
Published research about it, and I want to tell you all about this drug until I'm just salivating about it. In fact, it's not just one drug. It's a combo drug therapy. It's two drugs at the same time. Travagramab, good luck saying that one, and garetosmab, good luck saying that one also. makes these drug names up. I swear to God, Scott, there's a high probability in my mind that a gentleman named Trevor and a gentleman named Garrett co-discovered these drugs, and they just named it after themselves. Trevor and Garrett's drug. That's what I.
Hey, he's probably true on that. Trevor and Garrett, he could be true, because if you ever studied the human, you ever studied anatomy and the study of the human body, you know that these people were like digging bodies back up and dissecting them and basically like just chopping them up, trying to figure out what's this? This is a vein, this is an artery, what is this bone? Hacksawing and blood everywhere, and it was an illegal thing to do to dig up the bodies, but they still did it anyway. And then, they start to have names for these things, and you'd be surprised where these names came from. So I don't put that past him. So he's pretty right on that.
I'm calling him.
I know.
And there we go. They came in and hit us with an ad. But so far, so good. We're on a decent track. Let me turn it down. We're on the track right here to see exactly what he's talking about. But so far, there's two drugs into this. There's two drugs that make this new drug, apparently, is what he's saying. So already we're on my opinion, we're on a side effect journey. We just don't know what the side effects are. But let's continue and see where he's at. Here we go.
So trevogrumab is a myostatin antagonist. I'll get to what that is in just a little bit. And garetosmab is an activin A antagonist. Both drugs work by reducing the activity of myostatin and activin A. Myostatin and activin A, their predominant roles in skeletal muscle are to cap, to hold down, to reduce how much muscle you grow at any given time. And when these drugs uncork those caps, reduce the activity of myostatin and activin A, you get this radical unleashing of completely natural, in a sense, muscle growth that your body wants to do all the time, but it has these two substances it makes itself, these two proteins, myostatin and activin A, capping this muscle growth all the time. What these drugs do is they just go and uncork them, in a dose-dependent manner.
That's not natural, buddy. I'm not knocking you, but you didn't use the word natural, saying in a natural sense. But you're using a drug to induce a reaction on a process that a body does naturally, and yeah, you're using a drug to basically alter what something naturally does, and you wanted to produce more of something, but instead of just going through the natural process, you're trying to alternate. You're trying to manipulate the natural process, which is not natural. It's like manipulating weather. You know what I mean? You don't think there's a consequence that comes with the power of manipulating weather? I think not.
Uncorking is partial and then complete if you take a crap load of these drugs. So these new drugs uncap your body's natural potential for muscle growth. How well do they do it? Well, exactly. Good news. We have an incredibly well-conducted research study by Regeneron Pharmaceuticals from their pre-stage 1 clinical trials. These are done on non-human primates, little teeny monkeys. Like the Outbreak. Scott, remember Outbreak, that movie from the 90s?
I remember
Outbreak. Dumbass monkeys bit everyone.
The virus.
That's super creepy, right? Monkeys are, I don't know monkeys at all. But if they're going to be given advanced anabolic drugs, I love monkeys. Monkeys, y'all family to me. I don't look them in the eye because they'll throw poop at you or whatever the hell. Non-human primates, which means these are very small monkeys, so the amount of muscle gain and fat loss they're experiencing is measured in the grams and not in the kilograms. They're teeny, teeny, tiny. It's easier to do teeny, teeny, tiny because they experience rapid changes and it's easier to monitor them. And I guess they did put them to sleep and shove them into DEXA, which is quite impressive. So here's the deal. We have 4 groups of monkeys getting.
So the test subject is going to be monkeys. The test subject is monkeys, and since they worked on the monkeys, it should work on humans. I'm trying to figure out where this logic is coming from. So as long as we can test it on the animals, somehow humans and animals are the same. So therefore, whatever it does to the animal, the monkey, then it's going to have a similar effect to the human. And because it's led by such great research by people who wear white coats and glasses and have degrees, that the fact that they tried it on a monkey, it means that their research is adequate. Right.
4 different treatments. One group of monkeys had to diet. They restricted their calories a little bit.
Could we just did this with clones? Never mind. I'm saying too much.
And they dieted natty. These are natty monkeys, right? They're monkeys that go on forums and talk about everyone's a drug addict. They accuse everyone of taking drugs. Coke. Then there are monkeys that received semaglutide, aka Ozempic, which is a drug that is a modern weight loss drug. Mostly works by reducing your appetite.
Bruh.
Another group of monkeys, group 3, received only the myostatin blocker drug. Okay? And then group 4 received the myostatin blocker drug and the activin A blocker drug, that real dual therapy, that tip of the spear. That's what we're testing.
You're going to develop the monkeys from Congo.
4 groups: natty monkeys, semaglutide only monkeys, myostatin only monkeys, and then combo therapy monkeys.
Yeah, what's going to happen is all these drugs you're giving these monkeys, you're going to have a bunch of Amy's from Congo that's going to be able to like do sign language and speak to you in today's society, probably operate AI to their advantage and kick ass. They got us again with another ad. So far we have monkeys that are on these drugs, and we're going to see if the tests that were ran on the monkeys are what is being passed as what is going to pass for humans as far as releasing these drugs or claiming that these drugs are doesn't have any side effects and is like the super steroid that'll be coming out. We'll see.
What occurred? We have a graph for you right here.
Here we go.
Pause the video and look at the graph for a while.
Okay, cool. He said pause the video. Let's see. Change in body composition at week 20 measured by a DXA. The lean mass loss gain, fat mass loss gain. Here's our legend. So we got vehicle, SEMA, and then SEMA plus. So we'll say SEMA plus. All right, so let's see. I don't understand how to read this map. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to say SEMA less lean mass loss. SEMA plus has more fat mass loss, and SEMA plus has more fat mass loss. And I'm gonna let him try to speak on this. This isn't making sense to me.
Explain it. So you can pause and look after. This is wild results.
What we got?
What are we looking at here?
Talk to me.
The monkeys that did the natty life and just dieted hardcore, probably bitched about it a lot, they lost about 400 grams. Remember, these are not small, these are not large animals. So 400 grams to them is actually a lot. They lost 400 grams of body fat with about these are very approximate numbers, 400-ish grams of body fat,
okay,
and about 15-ish grams of muscle loss. So something thereabouts, plus or minus 2x that number. So they lost a lot of fat and a very, very small amount of muscle. I mean, that's a really good ratio. 415, that's dope. That's almost no muscle loss.
Okay.
Monkeys taking semaglutide did what you would predict. They lost way more fat. Instead of 400 grams for the drug-free monkeys, the semaglutide monkeys lost about 700 grams of body fat, thereabouts. Almost double, which is dope. The problem with semaglutide, though, is it's such a powerful reducer of how many calories you're taking in that the magnitude of your caloric deficit skyrockets. And we know in almost every case, a very high caloric deficit leads to a higher proportion of muscle loss. It's just, it's not a semaglutide thing. It's not that the molecule is making you lose fat. It's not like the molecule is making you lose muscle in some special way. It's just driving a crazy deficit, and then you lose more muscle. So those monkeys that were on semaglutide, they did lose 700 grams versus 400 grams of fat. Amazing. Almost.
So I mean, it just sounds like saying the metabolism is amped up approximately by a hell of a lot. So at least that's what I'm getting from it.
2x. But they lost close to about 100 grams of muscle with it.
Yes.
Still, hey, 7-to-1 ratio is really good, but like, man, they lost maybe like 5 or 6 times more muscle than the monkeys that just did the shit natty. So, okay, all right, trade-offs. And that's like a known trade-off, no big deal. Here's the thing. The monkeys that were given semaglutide and trevogrumab, which is the myostatin blocker, lost about 1,300 grams of body fat. Okay, real quick. Natty monkeys, 400 gram loss of fat.
Yeah, we got a simple
semaglutide monkeys, 700 gram loss of fat.
Yes, come on.
The lost 1,300 grams of fat. that is almost double the semaglutide group and more than 3 times the drug-free group. And those monkeys lost about 15 grams of muscle.
Okay, so
we're talking about the same losses as the monkey.
Yes, we are. We get it. We can read.
Now,
Simple math.
the muscle loss effect seen from the massive deficits of semaglutide. So all those internet articles you've been reading, all those blog posts you've been reading about people who say, oh, semaglutide loses muscle. It's true because it lets you lose a lot of weight. Gone. But it gets better.
Okay, what we got? Where's the last one?
Monkeys that took the combo therapy. They took semaglutide, they took trevogrumab, and they took garetosmab. And garetosmab is the activin A inhibitor. So now we got myostatin inhibitor in the works and activin A. Those monkeys lost 1,400-ish grams of fat, a little bit more, notably more, than the monkeys that were just on the myostatin inhibitor, then group 3, but not a ton more. But check this out. Those monkeys didn't lose 15 grams of fat. Sorry, good God. Those monkeys didn't lose 15 grams of muscle like the drug-free monkeys did or like the myostatin monkeys did. They didn't lose 100 grams of muscle like the semaglutide monkeys did.
Oh my gosh, this dude is killing
They
me.
gained
It's
on a
written
deficit,
the
by the
screen.
way.
Hurry up.
Monkeys don't resistance train, by the way. They gained 450 or so grams of muscle during the course of this diet, which was 20 weeks long, by the way.
20 weeks.
So we're going from
4
dieting
months.
drug-free, you lose a little bit of muscle, almost not at all, but you don't lose a whole lot of fat. To dieting with semaglutide, we use a lot more fat, but a substantial amount of muscle. Nothing crazy, but that's annoying. To adding in the myostatin inhibitor, trevogrumab, and all of a sudden you are going to lose almost no muscle, just a little bit of muscle loss, but you are losing almost double the amount of fat.
Okay, so
let's talk about some insights of this because this is totally wild stuff.
So we got that. So we found out now that, Jesus Christ, this dude is like, I'm dragging this on. It's driving me crazy how slow he's going. Like, we can't read the shit that's right next to his face, but we get it. He's making this video. So, as we can clearly see, doing it the natural way, you lose 400 grams of fat and then 15 grams, you lose 15 grams of muscle. And then doing it the drug way, which has the double dose, well, not the double dose, but the 2 drugs in it. I'm just doing the top and the bottom. So then doing it the drug way, which has the 2 drugs in it that he mentioned, you lose 1,400 grams of fat and gain 450 grams of muscle, that's a hell of a thing. But now we have to see what is, the give and take with that. We got to figure out if there's a side effects with that or if there's just nothing. So we got to see if he breezes over it. So let's find this out real quick.
This kind of drug, specifically this drug therapy, is likely to transfer to humans because monkeys have a huge amount of commonalities with us.
There we go. That's where we start out right there because we are talking about monkeys. We ain't talking about humans. So this should transfer over to humans. Who gonna be the test dummies to try this shit out first? I want to watch. I want to see. And who's going to be the test dummy? So far, we don't know if this works on humans. We're just talking about monkeys. So we got some extremely strong monkeys that develop into the monkeys from Congo. If you want to know what I mean by Congo, I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about there's a movie called Congo where Amy Monkey, where she did sign language.
Almost the same biology. And such studies are currently ongoing. They are in stage 2 clinical trials for this drug with humans now, which is like, Scott, how do we get into this clinical trial, man? I'm sick. I'm dying out here, baby.
Sign me up.
Look at me and my no muscle mass. I need help. Please, Regeneron, please. Somebody email me from Regeneron, please.
So when you take an ad,
All right, so Buddy just wants some drugs at the end of the day. That's just what he wants. So right now we're speaking on a drug that's basically implicating that it works on monkeys. We don't know if it works on humans, and he's already trying to like pump people up to take a drug that hasn't been tested on humans yet, which I find completely absurd. But that's just me. I mean, I'm like, hey, let me see this work or not work on some people first, and then and then of course you got to figure out what the side effects is when it does work on people to see exactly what it's talking about. To lose 1,400 grams of fat and gain 450 grams of muscle, I mean, that is a hell of a stat. But again, he's talking about monkeys, he ain't talking about humans. And we haven't got to the point where if this works on humans or not. So with that being said, we're going to continue and let's see. We ain't got much time left and I don't want to waste too much time with him dragging this shit on, but let's continue.
These trials are currently ongoing. There are multiple other pharmaceutical laboratories, mega corporations that are working around the clock on similar treatments because we now know for years that semaglutide and tirzepatide and soon to be retatrutide and all these weight loss drugs are phenomenal for helping people lose weight, but they don't really help you retain muscle. And now a lot of people losing weight and they're getting skinny and they have less muscle and they're getting all these health effects and all these cosmetic effects they don't like. This is a known problem to the pharmaceutical industry.
I mean, just eat, bro. Just eat. I mean, I get it, genetics and all this stuff. So, I mean, I do understand that part. Genetics does play a big role in things, but you know, just eat. Just eat.
And now a ton of labs are rushing to get you the most advanced muscle growth drugs that they can make. And already they are in research.
What we got? Come on.
The combo therapy.
Here we go.
The triple threat of semaglutide, trevogrumab, and garetosmab on fat loss and muscle gain are what we would expect with semaglutide plus a really solid dose of mega steroids for someone who's never taken steroids before, except with zero androgenic side effects, no hair growth, no voice deepening, no aggression, no bad lipid profiles, none of that stuff. How big of a deal are these effects if we're going to extrapolate? Now, this is just pretend land for a second, just to get our minds right. Nothing one-to-one here, so let's just hypothesis stuff.
Okay.
Let's take the primate results and map them onto a human result. This is very likely what is going to happen, or similar. Imagine.
Oh, Lucas, I think you're like the fifth person who literally verbatim has copied and pasted that exact text into the chat. I don't know how you guys just don't have headphones and expect people to fix their life just for you. Going on somewhere.
You have an identical twin. Scott, what would you do if you had an identical twin other than masturbating in front of each other every day?
I would do like twin shenanigans, you know.
About chainsaws last time, and your twin's like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, love chainsaws, man.
Yes.
He's texting you under the table like, what the f- did you talk to her about? Shit like that. However, you could do something even cooler. You can both get on a diet. Isn't that nice? So imagine you have an identical twin, and you're both a decent bit out of shape. Let's say you're about 200 pounds, both, and you're both at about 20% body fat. Your twin is a natty 4 life. There's a number 4 in there somewhere. He's going to diet for 5 months straight, reasonably, drug-free, and extrapolating this primate data, he would lose as a group 1 monkey. He would, you come up to your twin, you're like, you're a group 1 monkey. He's like, shut up. Anyway.
All right, bro, come on.
He would, at the end of this diet, at the end of 5 months, be about 192 pounds. That's enough. Trevogrumab,
So
extrapolating from this primate data.
Again, these results are still coming off of monkey testing, not human testing, but we're just going off of the numbers and using percentage and results. But we're almost done here. I'm not going to waste too much time on this.
You would lose about 28 pounds of fat while gaining 9 pounds of muscle.
Cool. Now, what we need here is a before and after of somebody actually doing these things. All right. So we're still going off of monkeys.
28 or so after they go through the.
So we're still going off of monkeys. There's nothing that's set in stone with a human actually taking this. It sounds like they're trying to like pump this drug up to make the masses, you know, be the test dummies and the guinea pigs for something that hasn't been humanly tested. And they're going to sit here and look at people and be like, all right, how did it work on them? Oh, man. She didn't get a deep voice, but, you know, like she actually growed a whole penis from her leg. I mean, it used to be clitoris enlargement. Now it's penis growth. Like, wow. Like, I'm just saying, like, you don't know what the side effects of any of this stuff going to be, so you never know. You know what I mean? That here just, it seems like he's just trying to, like, convince people to be guinea pigs because there's no proof. But let's continue. I might be wrong, but we're not going to waste so much time.
Just perilously and stupidly long FDA approval process. Such drugs are likely going to have very minimal side effects.
Exactly.
Most likely, the side effects are going to come from increasing muscle mass so radically, which means they're probably going to make you hungrier and require you to eat more protein. But you can just take a slightly higher dose of semaglutide, tirzepatide, or retatrutide to offset that, so no big deal.
Just take more drugs. You know, just take drugs to counter that drug. You know, I mean, look, when you do blow, All right, when you do like a big line of blow, maybe like do like a like a whole 8-ball or some blow, right? And your appetite gets, just destroyed. You don't feel like eating. Go and smoke you some good old Mary Jane, and that'll get your appetite back up, and that'll, then you develop the munchies, and that's no big deal. Then your appetite will come back. You'll be good.
The effects will be a huge positive on strength gain. Of course, adding 9 pounds of muscle is going to do something. It's going to be a way better look and a huge boost to overall health, because more muscle means better controlled and lower blood sugar, lower blood fats, and about 20 other major health benefits I just don't have time to get into. Having more muscle is usually a really, really, really awesome thing. Here's the thing also we have to extrapolate. This won't be the only drug out. Within a few years, after this drug releases, or really within a few months of its release, because other labs are working on their own competitors right now, there will be numerous other drugs out. And these drugs over years and years, maybe over months and months with advanced AI research at that point in history, they're going to get better and better and better, increasing how much muscle that they help you gain, decreasing how much fat that you hold on your body. They'll help you lose more fat, and they'll decrease side effects too. If there really are any side effects to speak of, which I'm sure there will be, but over time the drugs will be less and less and less side effects, more muscle gain.
So bottom line, what I'm getting for this, because I'm about done with dealing with this video. So all I'm getting from this is basically saying you don't need discipline. You just need drugs. That's my takeaway. That's what I got from this. I that's all I hear. It's like, hey, you don't need discipline. You just need drugs. You know what I mean? Whenever the discipline is too hard to do, you just want to eat some cheesecake and you don't want to be disciplined in your diet. You want to eat a bunch of processed bullshit, and you just don't want to, stick to a regimen or routine that's boring. Here, take some drugs, shortcut your way, and just do as thou wilt. That's basically where we're at with this end of the day. But shout out to him for this video. Let me give that man a round of applause, because he's really good at speaking and conveying a message forward. So I give that to him, man. That was actually a really good video. I really appreciate that. So we know there's a new drug on the way. We don't know exactly what it's called. I don't think I caught that part of what it was called, but we do know that it's going to be on the way. People are going to be taking it. Just know that, there's drugs, there's side effects, and 9 times out of 10, the monkeys that he was talking about, I don't think, if they do test it on humans, hopefully they put that information out there. But if they don't, just know that you are taking a drug based off the results of monkeys, and now you're going to be the live guinea pigs if they don't put the public results out of it working on humans or not, or at least testing them on humans or not. They might just sell them to you, make the money, and test it on you as they make money. It's like, you know what? Let them buy it. Then we'll hear about all the kickbacks, and we're gonna watch the TikToks and Instagram and the YouTube and hear people complain about the goods and the bads, and we'll know how to twig it from the money that we make off of screwing these people up or helping them. You never know. Not knocking the drug, but that's just the way I see how they're going forward with it. Yeah. There's that. Anyway, we're going to move on over to the next portion of the show, which is going to be the organ of the day. Yes, sir, the organ of the day. Let's go ahead and round of applause for that one. Organ of the day. The organ of the day shall be the spleen. We're going to go into the spleen. I have a video. Usually we use KinHub, but I couldn't find one on the spleen, so I just found a dude who basically has a live spleen. You're going to have him kind of show you what a human spleen looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and read to you exactly the functions and what a spleen does and what it's all about, as we watch somebody hold a real live dissected spleen pulled out of somebody's body, Mortal Kombat style, and held in their face, and then squish it in their hands like this, and then they say fatality at the end of it. So with that being said, let me go ahead and pull this video up while I go ahead and read this over to you. Where is it? Where's my thing? There it is. There we go. So you should see right there, there's a spleen. Those are real spleens, by the way. There's not that fake stuff. And he's going to have this video going. I'm going to read this off to you. We're going to understand what the spleen is. So here we go. So the spleen is a organ located in the upper left side of the abdomen, just under the rib cage and next to the stomach. Though not essential for survival, it plays an important role in the immune system and blood maintenance. That sounds important to me. Basic overview. Here we go. So we have the size and shape is about the size of a fist, soft, spongy, and purple in color. All right. Location, upper left quadrant of the abdomen behind the stomach. The functions of the spleen is blood filtration. It removes old or damaged red blood cells. That sounds important to me. Recycles iron and other useful components from hemoglobin. Immune defense, number 2. Acts as a large lymph node. Produces white blood cells, especially lymphocytes. Detects and responds to pathogens in the blood, bacteria, virus, etc. Stores immune cells like macrophages that engulf and destroy invaders. Number 3, blood storage. It holds a reserve of blood which can be released in case of injury or significant blood loss. Stores platelets in white blood cells. Number 4, fetal function before birth. Produces red blood cells in the fetus. This function stops after birth when bone marrow takes over. Interesting. Can you live without it? It says yes, but if the spleen is removed due to, for example, injury or disease, other organs like the liver and lymph nodes compensate. So they're going to be working double time. However, you become more prone to infections, especially from bacteria like streptococcus, strep throat or strep pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza, and there's another one I'm sorry I cannot pronounce, but it says meningitis. And vaccinations and sometimes daily antibiotics are recommended after spleen removal. So you can live without it, but there's some consequences that come with it. So just be ready for it. Common spleen issues, which is going to be a ruptured spleen, which is often from trauma, which is a medical emergency. Sickle cell disease can damage or shrink the spleen over time. And hypersplenism, which is an overactive spleen that destroys too many blood cells. Yes. And that is the spleen wrapped up in a nutshell for you to understand exactly what the spleen is all about, because we must know about our bodies. Know thyself. You should know your body and know how it works and understand what these things do. And I'm going to go ahead and play another video. And this video is going to be from, real quick, this is an Anatomy Made Easy. So shout out to them. Very useful using their video. And then we're going to slide on over to the next video that we have right here, which is going to be from the Anatomy Lab for use. And I'm going to have them do a quick rundown exactly as to what the function or how the spleen is. And they're going to see what it looks like inside of a human body, where to find it, and how big it is from a dissected human body, as we can see right here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and show this really quick.
So this structure right here, which is probably a lot bigger than you would think it'd be, is called the spleen. Now, one thing that I want you to know about the spleen is it is an actual reservoir for blood. It helps store a lot of your blood. And that's why if this ruptures, you can bleed out and die very, very quickly. So this structure right here, which is probably a lot bigger than you would think it'd be, is called the spleen. Now, one thing that I want you to know about the spleen is it is an actual reservoir for blood. It helps store a lot of your blood. And that's why if this ruptures, you can bleed out and die very, very quickly.
Yikes. Okay, so be careful with your spleen rupturing, because you could bleed out and die very, very quickly. So with that being said, that is the organ of the day, the spleen. Yes, sir. Can you hear me? There we go. There's a round of applause. I can hear it better. Now I can hear it. Jesus, it was like really faint in my ears. I couldn't hear it that well. All right, so we just finished with the fitness portion of the show. We're going to walk on over and slide on into the economy portion of the show with a short video, which we're going to continue talking about central banking and the enslavement of humanity, mankind. How central bank is going to enslave us all. Well, not how it's going to, how it is. And yeah, hopefully you get an understanding for it and can understand how this stuff works and how to combat it, or how to choose to live your life while living outside of, central banking. But that's to each his own. So we're going to go on this one, and this one is going to talk about the modern forms of state banking. It's a shorter video, but this one's going to be really interesting to see how state banking has changed from the previous form to the modern form, and the modern form of state banking, and if there's a way out, or if you're just going to be enslaved by it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and pull this up on the screen. Going to change the banner right there real quick. And as you can see, if you've been watching the past few episodes, this is part 7. So we've started from 1, we're all the way on part 7. Part 8 will be the last one tomorrow. And this is just giving us a full rundown of the power of central banking and how it works and what it does and how it's shaped and shaped and molded the civilization and society that we live in all the way back to Julius Caesar time, even before him. But it's really a serious ordeal that you should know about. And that's why I'm trying to, go ahead and put it and give it some kind of awareness to, put inside your brain to give you something to think about. But with that being said, let's not waste no time. Let's get through with this video. This one ain't gonna take nowhere near as long as the last video, but it's a good one to understand the modern forms of state banking. Let's get it. Here we go.
A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind by Stephen Mitford Goodson. Chapter 7. Modern Forms of State Banking. Banking was conceived in iniquity and was born in sin. The bankers own the earth. Take it away from them, but leave them the power to create deposits, and with a flick of the pen, they will create enough deposits to buy it back again. However, take it away from them, and all the great fortunes like mine will disappear, and they ought to disappear, for this would be a happier and better world to live in. But if you wish to remain the slaves of the bankers and pay the cost of your own slavery, let them continue to create deposits. Sir Josiah Stamp, former director of the Bank of England. Bank of North Dakota. In 1919, the 48 states of the United States were offered the opportunity of setting up their own state banks. North Dakota was the only state which accepted this offer. North Dakota...
Hold up, wait a minute. The 48 states of the United States were offered the opportunity to set up their own state banking. North Dakota was the only one that did it. Interesting. Okay.
State banks. North Dakota was the only state which accepted this offer. North Dakota, capital Bismarck, has a population of 790,000. It is situated in the middle of America on the Canadian border. Notwithstanding its harsh winters, its primary source of both direct and indirect income is agriculture. It ranks first in the United States in the production of wheat, mainly durum, barley, canola, flaxseed, oats, and sunflower seeds.
Okay.
Shale oil obtained by fracking in the Bakken Basin and lignite are the state's principal mining products. Most of the states of America are technically insolvent, and with the exception of North Dakota and her western neighbor Montana, all have been experiencing budget deficits. By way of comparison, California, the largest state in economic terms and currently the world's 12th largest economy, had a deficit of just under $23 billion in April 2013 and pays out $10.4 billion in interest annually. In 2012, its bond debt amounted to $167.9 billion. In contrast to the other 49 states, which have been suffering rising levels of unemployment, North Dakota's unemployment rate has decreased and is currently the lowest in the USA at 2.7%. It also has the lowest default rates in the country.
Oh, wow.
In September 2012, North Dakota had a budget surplus of $1.6 billion. Between 1997 and 2010, its GDP grew by 93.4%, from $16 billion to $31 billion. During the period from 2000 to 2011, personal income per capita increased by 127%, from $20,155 to $45,747, while the national increase was 37.4% over the same period. The secret of its success lies in its state bank. The mission statement of the bank is to provide sound financial services that promote agriculture, commerce, and industry. By law, the state must deposit all its funds in the bank, which pays a competitive rate of interest to the state treasurer. The bank pays over all its profits to the state, which in 2011 were $60 million. Over $450 million has been paid to the state in the past 11 years. Most of these funds are used to offset taxes. The bank also provides a secondary market for real estate loans, guarantees for new business ventures, and loans for farmers at an interest rate of 1% per annum. There has been no credit crisis or credit freeze in North Dakota, as the bank provides the state's own credit. By having established its own economic sovereignty, North Dakota has become the most financially viable and prosperous state in the USA.
What?
In 2015, the North Dakota Legislative Assembly established a Bank of North Dakota Infrastructure Loan Fund program, which made $50 million in funds available to communities with a population of less than 2,000 and $100 million available to communities with a population greater than 2,000. These loans have a 2% fixed interest rate of return and a term of up to 30 years. Okay. The proceeds can be used for the new construction of water and treatment plants, sewer and water lines, transportation infrastructure, and other similar needs to support new growth in a community.
Okay, that makes
While
sense.
state banking will not resolve the financial impasse being experienced at national level, state banks in the USA have the potential to provide considerable relief at state government level.
Okay.
Budget surpluses, lower taxes, less unemployment, and higher levels of prosperity.
Okay.
As of December 2016, there were 25 states considering some form of state banking legislation. The states of Guernsey. In 1815, after the Napoleonic Wars had ended, Guernsey was in a precarious state. Its roads were in disrepair, the dikes were collapsing, and the economy had slumped. The island was unable to borrow money as it could not raise the taxes to pay the required interest. In 1816, in order to fund public works and a new marketplace, the Committee of the States of Guernsey devised a novel solution. It issued £6,000 in £1 notes, free of debt and interest. Within 2 years, all the works had been completed without any addition to the state debt. A further £5,000, some of them in denominations of £5 notes, were authorized in 1824 to rebuild the Elizabeth College, founded by Queen Elizabeth I in 1563, and parochial schools.
Okay, so they're
By
moving around.
1837, £55,000 were in circulation. The island experienced increased trade and tourism and levels of prosperity not previously seen. In 1914, the state's notes issued had increased to £142,000. In 1937, the figure was £175,000. The cost of printing these notes was £450, compared to an annual interest charge of £11,383 per annum, 6.5%. By 1958, there were £542,765 in existence. Currently, there are £43.8 million in circulation. Today, Guernsey has a population of 65,400, which enjoys one of the highest standards of living in the world. There is a flat income tax rate of 20% on worldwide income, capped at £220,000 per annum.
What? Okay, so they have the highest standard of living in the world. Flat income tax rate of 20% on worldwide income, and it's capped at £220,000. I'm guessing per annum means per year. I should look that up, but I'm not gonna do it right now. But I really should. You know what? I'm telling myself I should. Let me. Per annum meaning is annually. Exactly. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. So you cap at 220,000 per year. Interesting, huh? So if you're a super millionaire and like tens of millions of dollars a year, you would want, 220,000 capping you. That, I think that's a good move. So I understand rich people would live here, is my understanding. Guernsey. I'm gonna have to put that into my. Let me look that place up. Guernsey. Let me type that in real quick before I lose it. Guernsey. All right, we'll leave that there. Let's keep going.
Of 20% on worldwide income, capped at £220,000 per annum. There is no company tax except for a 10% tax on certain banking activities. No capital gains tax, no inheritance tax or estate duty, no purchase or sales tax, no value-added tax, VAT, and no capital transfer tax. Guernsey has neither a national debt nor any external debt.
What? They don't have a national debt nor any external debt? What? That is unheard of in today's world. Shout out to... All right, y'all. Guernsey is the place to be. You heard it from me first.
Central Bank of Libya. From 1551 to 1911, Libya was ruled by the Ottoman Empire, by Italy from 1911 to 1943, and from 1943 to 1951 was under the military suzerainty of Britain and France. The Central Bank of Libya was founded in 1956 and was run as a typical central bank until the bloodless coup d'etat of the 1st of September 1969. Oil of an exceptionally high quality was discovered in 1959. However, King Idris al-Mahdi al-Sanusi failed to capitalize on this bonanza or use it for the benefit of his people, and the bulk of the oil profits were siphoned into the coffers of the oil companies.
Dang.
On assuming power in 1969, Muammar Mohammed al-Gaddafi took control of most of the economic activities in the country, including the central bank, which for all practical purposes was run as a state bank. It operated as a banker of the local bankers, and foreign bankers were not permitted to operate. Financing of government infrastructure did not attract riba, interest, and Libya had no national debt and no foreign debt. Its foreign exchange reserves exceeded $54 billion, which may be compared to reserves of developed countries such as the United Kingdom and Canada, which in 2010 were $50 billion and $40 billion respectively. GDP growth during the period 2000 to 2010 was 4.32% per annum, and the official figure for inflation was minus 0.27%.
Minus.
Colonel Gaddafi was described by the mainstream media as being a terrible dictator and a blood-sucking monster.
True, I remember
but the
that.
reality was that with the exception of the city of Benghazi and its environs, he had the support of 90% of the population.
90.
The following benefits provided by Gaddafi explain why he was so popular. Free education. Students were paid the average salary for which subjects they were studying. Students studying overseas were provided with accommodation, an automobile, and €2,500 per annum.
Students studying overseas were provided with accommodation.
Free electricity, free healthcare, free housing. There were no mortgages. Newlywed couples received a gift of 60,000 dinar, $50,000, from government. Automobiles were sold at factory cost free of interest. Private loans were provided free of interest. Bread cost 15 US cents per loaf.
50.
Gasoline cost 12 US cents per liter.
You hearing this shit? Can you believe this? This is what was going on while he was living. And it's very unfortunate the way he went out. But because if you paid attention to this whole series I've been doing from part 1 all the way up to now, the way he was running his country was similar to the mustache man in Germany, the way he took care of his population. The way he took care of his population and the mustache man in Germany, they have similar ways they were taking care of their country, and they both were ridiculed to hell.
Portion of profits from sale of oil was paid directly into bank accounts of citizens. Farmers received free land, seeds, and animals. Full employment with those temporarily unemployed paid a full salary as if employed. Gaddafi's Jamahiriya, state of the masses, ensured that the wealth of this country of 5.79 million inhabitants was fairly distributed to all its people.
Wow.
Beggars and homeless vagrants did not exist, while life expectancy at 75 years was the highest in Africa and 10% above the world average. The literacy rate was 82%.
Beggars and homeless vagrants did not exist.
Regarding human rights, Libya stood at 61 in the International Incarceration Index. The lower the rating, the lower the standing. The number 1 spot is currently occupied by the United States.
Wow. Wow. Regarding human rights, Libya stood at 61 in the International Incarceration Index. Excuse me. The lower the rating, the lower the standing. So the higher the rating, the higher the incarceration.
Another major achievement which Gaddafi initiated was the conversion of the Nubian sandstone fossil aquifer system into the Great Man-Made River, which supplies 6.5 million cubic meters of fresh water daily to the cities of Tripoli, Sirte, and Benghazi. The extracted water is 10 times cheaper than desalinated water. The total cost of the project, estimated at $25 billion, was financed without a single foreign loan. Although the central banks of Belarus, Burma, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, North Sudan, and Syria do not fall under the direct control of the Rothschild banking syndicate, Libya had the only central bank run on genuine state banking lines, which exhibited the classic symptoms of full employment, zero inflation, and a modern-day workers.
Okay, so we got Belarus, Burma, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, North Sudan, and Syria. Do not fall under the direct control of said banking syndicate. Now, living in America, from my knowledge, for some reason, America does not like Cuba. America does not like Iran. America does not like the way North Korea is ran. America does not like Syria, from my understanding. And I mean, I'm not going to say nothing about the North Korea, man. That's actually a story within itself, but you have to go there to actually get your own personal understanding of it. But from just my knowledge, but ironically, all these people don't fall under the direct control of said banking syndicate. Now, this one over here, the North Korea one, that one could be said for itself, but that's a place I would have to visit personally myself and get my own understanding instead of somebody else telling me about it. But yeah, I knew somebody who was Cuban, and she told me about how communism was whenever she grew up in Cuba. And, you know, she left Cuba and came here and said, you know, it's better to live here than Cuba. However, whenever we were talking, she was like, but what I ran from in Cuba, she said, I can see it here now. I was like, really? She says, yes, it literally is starting to be the same thing from what I've ran from, and it scares me. I was like, yikes.
Paradise. The question arises as to why NATO intervened on the pretext of fabricated human rights abuses, the so-called responsibility to protect. Since 1971, when the United States abandoned the gold exchange standard for the petrodollar with the connivance of Saudi Arabia, any attempt to displace the United States dollar as the premier reserve currency has been blocked and opposed with violence. In November 2000, Saddam Hussein of Iraq decreed that all oil payments would in future be made in euros, as he did not wish to deal in the currency of the enemy. As has
Hey, I can't argue with that. That makes perfect sense. How can you argue with that? Like, I mean, that's common sense for anybody. Would you like, hey, use our currency? It's like, aren't we enemies? I don't want to use your stuff. Okay, well, now we mad at you. It's like, I can't blame him for that. I mean, if you were him, what would you do? Type thing. You know what I mean? I can't knock him. That actually makes sense. He wished not to deal in the currency of the enemy. That makes perfect sense in just logic itself, and not even logic, common sense.
Be made in euros, as he did not have weapons of mass destruction currency of the enemy. As has already been proven, the possession of weapons of mass destruction pretext was a deliberately concocted hoax, and it was this currency decision which cost Saddam Hussein his life and the destruction of his country.
Golly.
In similar circumstances, Gaddafi announced in 2010 the creation of the gold dinar as a replacement for the settlement of all foreign transactions in a proposed region of over 200 million people. Libya at that time possessed 144 tons of gold. What was intended was not a return to the gold standard per se, but a new unit of account with oil exports and other resources being paid for in gold dinars. Gaddafi crossed a red line and paid the ultimate price. Since 2007, Iran has stipulated that payments be made in euro currency. On the 17th of February 2008,
every single time he crossed the red line and paid the ultimate price. What happens? What line do they cross? Let me show you the line that gets crossed whenever you do this right here. The creation of the gold dinar, a replacement for, what is it? Basically, he just replaced the currency. The same thing this guy did. This guy says, I'm not going to use the currency of the enemy. Well, and you don't do that, this is what happened. Bam, bam, bam. Just like that. In other words, yeah, you get the point.
The red line and paid the ultimate price. Since 2007, Iran has stipulated that payments be made in euro currency. On the 17th of February 2008, the Iranian oil bourse for trading in petroleum, petrochemicals, and gas using primarily the euro, Iranian rial, and a basket of non-US currencies was established. The first oil shipments under the new system were sold through this market in July 2011. This event must be deemed as one of the prime causes for the constant Israeli and American threats to annihilate Iran. A history of central banking in the...
Okay, that was it. Wow. Okay, that one ended pretty fast. Hey, shout out to him for that one then. That's going to be part 8 for tomorrow, what we just saw coming up. But yeah, that was it for that one right there. It just abruptly ended with no thing showing us. Yes. Yes. But shout out to them for that one, man. That was a very interesting take. Unfortunate, I mean, that was a really good take. I'm not gonna lie. And it actually showed some things that I didn't know, and I'm gonna have to keep that G country in my list right here. Guernsey. I'm gonna have to keep that one in my list. That sounds like a rich haven. You know what I mean? So if I ever disappear, don't ask where I'm at. Straight up. That seems like the place to be. All right, well, with that being said, man, I hate to cut this show short. I'm supposed to get to the AI portion, but time did not permit for me to do what I wanted to do by getting to the AI. So again, I'm gonna have to push this same topic back. I've been pushing back for days doing the VO3 tutorial, but we will get it done tomorrow. For sure. We'll get it done tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts, man. But thank y'all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it, man. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you're on YouTube. We'll catch y'all tomorrow around the same time. Maybe earlier because I want to get it done early, but it'll probably be around the same time. Yeah. So with that being said, we'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Love you. Peace.
The game on lock, and I got the keys like In the booth, slave beats, I'd rather be in the studio than in jail or on the street. Talk to me wrong, couldn't knock your teeth. Got that one hit to quit and knock you off your feet. It's big on, baby, I'm obsolete. Pockets chunky like cottage cheese. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli, taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fuck the ones, that's my policy. Most of these hoes tryna cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then buy the dream. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. Wait no nigga in the booth, playing beats. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. Wait no nigga in the booth, playing beats. Counting cash and smoking green, can me blow a cloud like a smoke machine. The bitch on my dick, she got no to sing. Bumblebee ass, yeah, I know it's thing. I plug your bitch like a 6-string. Jordan with the bitches got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitch split screen. The rest with pain pills and sipping lane. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star heavyweight like Overeem. The bitch line like she over me. I flip money like Clover G. Gang hustle like TIP. It's hard baby like DIG. Acronym like KRT. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Wait no nigga in the booth, playing beats. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Wait no nigga in the booth, playing beats. Killing beats like RP, no hard shit with your artery. Cutting up, who sharp as me? Rolling up accordingly. Pulling hoes, no sorcery. Rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ain't right, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a forest beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade, I go to heat. Bitch, on my way, hit the short police. Money jumping like a nigga on my sneeze. Cop the bad J's, get me on the beat. Bitch, I'm always winning like what's the fee? The game on line.